As much as we'd like to believe it, some celebrities just aren't very nice. Yeah, sure, some of them are still pretty humble people, but there are others who had their fame go to their head and became divas. For some, this makes them pretty awful people to have on set. Looks like it's time to expose some diva behavior as we count down the top 10 celebrities who are hard to work with. At number 10, Jennifer Lopez. Even though she's really badass, it turns out that JLo is also a real diva. Those who've worked with her say that she's rude and very hard to work with. Apparently, Jennifer is very picky about who may or may not speak to her, and for those permitted to address her, they are not allowed to make eye contact. She's so picky about things that there are even reports that she sometimes flat out refuses to comply with scripts. For example, this happened most notably during filming for a Fiat commercial. Because she didn't want to do certain things for the shoot, they needed to hire a double for Jennifer just so they could still get the shots they needed without having to bother her. She's also known to have a large and complicated list of demands when she's on set. One of her wildest requests came from when she was attending the World Music Awards in 2010. She reportedly requested for a helicopter to be on standby for her. She wanted a, quote, custom-fitted speedboat and diamond-encrusted headphones to drown out the sound of the boat. JLo is also known to lose her cool on staff when she doesn't get her way, and even though her staff do so much for her, including sometimes communicating for her, they don't get paid very much for their time. At number 9, Kanye West. Most people see Kanye West as a little too extra. He's caused scandals like his VMA interruption with Taylor Swift, his comments about George W. Bush, as well as many other instances that just rub people the wrong way. To add to that, he's reportedly very hard to work with. During filming of Anchorman 2, Kanye came on set for a brief appearance in the film, and though he played a small part, he left a big impression on the cast and crew, and it wasn't positive. Apparently, after Kanye wrapped on set, he refused to leave. He could have just gone home after he finished his scenes, but he decided to stick around. That's fine if you want to stay and watch other people's performances, but that's not exactly what Kanye did. Instead, he hung around set blasting music so loudly that it disrupted filming. People had to try and get him to leave, but he just wouldn't. I think it's safe to say that if there were a third Anchorman movie, Kanye would not be welcomed back. Now, before I go any further, I'd like to ask you guys to consider leaving a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and also check out Lindsay Ivan's new reaction channel, Peach, that launches later this month. Go subscribe and tell her that we sent you. At number 8, Lea Michele. Lea Michele was exposed last year for her Hollywood mean streak and for her terrible behavior on set. This all came out following a tweet from former Glee co-star Samantha Ware, where she let the world know how horrible it was to work with Lea. The actress is now described as, quote, callous, rude, mean, and even a diva. But following Samantha's exposure of the Broadway star, other people have come forward with their own testimonies regarding Lea and her mean streak. There have been stories of Lea's microaggressions, but also stories about her spitting in craft service food that she doesn't like, refusing to work with people if they didn't know her middle name, requesting reshoots because she didn't like her costume, disrespecting other castmates, and having crew members apologize on her behalf, and just so many other frustrating tidbits that really show how rude and entitled she's known to be. No one wants to work with her after learning about how much of a nightmare she can be on set. At number 7, Edward Norton. Though we all know Mark Ruffalo as the actor who plays the Hulk in the MCU, if you're a super Marvel fan, then you would recall that there have been 2 different actors who played the role in the MCU, and that actor Edward Norton was the first one to take on the role in the 2008 movie, The Incredible Hulk. Though that movie was pretty successful, the studio fired him from the role and decided to recast the role for the 2012 movie, The Avengers. But why did they make these changes, you ask? Well, that's because Edward was reportedly fired from his role for clashes on set. Some people have said that Edward can be controlling and hard to work with, and the defining event that really solidified Marvel's decision to fire Norton came after he and some studio executives got into a heated argument over the desire to add more action scenes to the film. Norton reportedly was not at all in favor of these creative decisions, and apparently he hulked out and threw a tantrum. For executives, this was the last straw because they were tired of always clashing with the actor, and so when the film was wrapped, they cut ties with Norton and Mark Ruffalo came in to fill the role. At number 6, Julia Roberts. Even though Julia Roberts seems like a nice person, it turns out that she's a nightmare on set. Ironically, she's almost always cast as nice and endearing characters, but there's seemingly much more to Julia than meets the eye. Apparently, she's known to have a pretty bad attitude on set, which can make working with her an unpleasant experience. In 1991, on the set of the Peter Pan film Hook by Steven Spielberg, Julia earned the on-set nickname Tinkerhell as a play on her character, Tinkerbell. She earned this moniker based on the production staff's perception of the actress. Apparently, during filming, she would constantly show up to set late, and even when she she was on set, she would lock herself in her trailer for hours on end. She also reportedly treated people very badly, and she would never apologize for her mean actions or behavior. Julia was truly the opposite of the pixie she was playing. At number 5, Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis has been really successful in his career, but it seems as though he's not all that great to be around in real life. Though his films are often very well made, it all comes at a price that those who've worked alongside him have had to pay. Apparently, Bruce is a nightmare to work with as he's gotten into a number of conflicts with others on set, and people just really hate working with him. In the time before Die Hard launched his film career, Bruce found most of his success after working on the show Moonlighting alongside his co-star Sybil Shepherd. In 2005, Shepherd dished about her time working with Bruce, and she told sources that there came a point in their relationship where Bruce became volatile and clashed a lot on set. There was reportedly constant bickering between the two of them, and it just created a toxic environment. But Sybil isn't the only one to have said that they've clashed with Bruce while working together. Filmmaker Kevin Smith has also had his troubles working with the actor while filming the 2010 film Cop Out. He told sources that though Bruce was his hero in past productions, that opinion went out the window, saying that working with Bruce was almost unbearable. When talking about their time together on set, Kevin said, quote, "He turned out to be the unhappiest, most bitter, and meanest emo B-word I've ever met at any job I've held down, and mind you, I've worked at Domino's Pizza. What an awful experience." End quote. At number 4, Zoe DeChanel. Even though Zoe DeChanel plays fun, bubbly, and happy characters on TV and in films, her real-life personality is far from nice. Turns out Zoe's actually pretty mean in real life, and she's hard to work with. People who've worked with the actress have said that she's got a really bad attitude on set, saying that she acts very stuck up and has a big ego. Others have said that she makes large demands a lot, throws unnecessary tantrums about literally everything, and has a reputation for delaying shoots, but won't hesitate to go off on anyone else who makes demands or delays shoots. Basically, she's got a really bad attitude, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of people think she doesn't get cast much anymore, because no one wants to work with her. I'm sure there's a reason for her diva attitude, maybe it's the stress or other factors, but she has still rubbed a lot of people the wrong way in the industry. At number 3, Ben Stiller. A lot of people think of Ben Stiller as a super funny guy in Hollywood, but just because someone seems great in the public eye, it doesn't mean that's how they really are behind closed doors. It seems as though Ben Stiller is a nightmare in disguise because he's a tough guy to work with and he causes a lot of trouble on set. People who know or have worked with Ben in the past have exposed some of his bad behavior on set, and it's pretty shocking. According to those who worked with him on the set of the film Tropic Thunder, he was very controlling and mean to just about everyone there. He even reportedly had a meltdown on set when someone brought him his Diet Coke and it didn't have exactly 2 ice cubes in it. He even had someone fired because they didn't put enough sugar in his coffee. On top of that, Ben even forced his assistant to stand out in the parking lot in his designated parking space, even though it already had a sign saying that it was reserved. And to make matters even more hectic, Ben also freaked out on a female assistant he had, going so far as to refuse to come back to set until she was replaced by a male assistant. If all of this madness happened on just one film set, who knows what other shenanigans have gone on elsewhere with him. At number 2, Mike Myers. In recent years, we haven't heard much from Mike Myers, but maybe it's because of his reputation of being notoriously hard to work with. There have been a number of horror stories that have come out about the actor, which sort of just paints him as both a diva and just a really mean person in general. The actor is known for being pretty controlling and a perfectionist at work, and at times these qualities have gone a little too far. Some of the things that have come out about the actor include rumors that while he's on set, he has someone following him around all day, feeding him chocolates from a Tupperware container, and at the same time, he would be ordering people around and micromanaging the production, even if it wasn't his job to do so. On top of that, he's also reportedly gotten an actor fired off set for only having made eye contact with him. Mike is also known to make a lot of demands while on set, so the production crew have to hire people just to keep up with his ever-growing list of wants and needs. This behavior isn't exclusive to just movie sets either, as reports came out about how he was berating people and ordering them around while on Late Night with Conan O'Brien. People were apparently very frantic backstage that night because Mike kept making demands and getting angry with people when these demands weren't met with perfection. I think it's safe to say that when working with Mike Myers, you have to be prepared for absolutely anything. And finally, at number 1, Jennifer Aniston. Jennifer Aniston seems like such a genuinely nice person, and I'm sure she is, but apparently she can also be very hard to work with. According to sources, Jennifer is known to be very private while on set. She refuses to talk to most people and spends most of her time in her trailer or dressing room rather than with the rest of the cast and crew. Wanting to stay isolated, she even requests to have her trailer put farther away from everyone else's. No one really knows why, but I guess you just have to respect her privacy and personal space. One event that shocked a lot of people about her on-set behavior was when Jennifer once admitted to throwing a chair at a director. The actress said that she found out about how the director was treating one of the script supervisors poorly, and she confronted him by throwing a chair at him. She opened up about the incident when she said, quote, "It wasn't my proudest moment. When the director walked in, I threw a chair at him. I missed, of course, and was like, you can't speak to people like that. I can't tolerate it," end quote. Now, I want you guys to tell me which other celebrities you know that are hard to work with. Some celebs out there have some serious diva attitudes, so drop some more names down in the comments. Anyways, that's been our list for today. I've been your host, Free Room, and until next time, stay safe, make good choices, and stay groovy, friends. Bye!